A letter from an Anatolian teacher. I really liked looking at horizons during my childhood, especially at the blue sky, when the noon was looming, crystal clear, innocent and peaceful times. I was in my final year of primary school. I had sunk into the purity of the sky and fallen into the reflection of its freedom exposure. My father approached me, sat down, and started gazing at the sky with me. He knew the great deal of passion that I had towards freedom and my embark on a quest to attain contentment in the sky. "My beloved daughter," he called out, "the school registration date is looming. You should pursue your education to be able to attain freedom, contentment, and the light of life," he uttered. On this very day started my venture of becoming a teacher. I perceived on that very day that a person who advocates his life for and pursues his education would achieve: to be a real intellectual, to attain real freedom, and to remain passionate about the contentment that the sky reflects. I studied at a high school whose students, when they graduate, become teachers. It is called a teacher high school. Teacher high schools are usually located at the suburbs. Sometimes I went to school by a town bus, and sometimes I was dropped off by our neighbor. There were times I missed the town bus after school, which meant I had no other way to go home, so I had to walk home, which took 30 minutes. When my mom did not see me getting off the town bus, she would get nervous and start walking to my school to find me. We used to get reunited before arriving in our small town. We called our meeting point the Hill of Reunion. Our eyes used to get filled with tears affectionately. I pursued to study. I evermore pursued to read, study, listen, think, and reflect night and day. I strived for the people of my native country that have been away for quite a while from reflecting, to think and contemplate on the passion of freedom at horizons, and prayed for the people of beautiful Anatolia to taste the contentment that the sky offers. I completed my high school, and then, yes, then, I pursued the lofty goal of becoming a teacher at a university. I listened, thought, and reflected again. I thought over my native country and the peoples of beautiful Anatolia. I evermore read, listened, thought, and reflected night and day, and always wrote down my reflections. The years passed very fast. The years resemble rivers that overflow. "You should rise your years in value," my grandfather used to say in my childhood. Verily, he was right. I completed pursuing my undergraduate studies and set off for a town far away from my own for the people of Anatolia. I evermore narrated the passion of freedom at horizons and the contentment at sky to my children at school night and day. I pursued to read and had my students read. I reflected and had them reflect. I perceived and had them perceive. But how would I know those who spoke out eloquently would be disturbed from the freedom that the horizons offered, and especially from those who read, reflected, and above all, from the teachers that have their students contemplate and the students that reflect. I was at the 15th year of my teaching career. A judicial verdict was announced. My father called me. He bursted into tears. "You have been suspended from teaching, my beloved one," cried out my father. I kept quiet, holding my peace, cried and cried and cried. I took refuge in my hometown with my husband and 3 small children, where I first tasted the contentment that the sky offered and the freedom that yielded from the horizons. However, the darkness apprehends in the fear of being flooded away by the light, and thus the darkness acts quick on the draw and strives to inundate everywhere, pitch dark, overwhelmingly. One day, police came to my hometown to take me away to prison. I did not shed tears this time at all. I prayed to my Lord for my country and beautiful people of Anatolia. I hugged my children and moved away. Now I am in a prison in my homeland. Why? For seeking the freedom at Horizons and yearning for the contentment that the sky has offered, and for narrating these to my students too. Your crime results to lifetime sentence, thus deep despair, uttered the prosecutor. The imprisonment consists of 4 walls facing against each other. The horizons are castles in the air, and the sky is in my dreams, and both are free. Especially hope, the hope of regaining on a spring's day. My children write letters to me from my hometown. We walk every day on the paths of Teacher High School with our grandmother to the reunion hill where she used to meet you when you missed the town bus. We sit down there and gaze our gazes towards horizons and sky. We are waiting to be reunited with hope in our dreams. Thus, we may embrace the freedom and contentment again. I am a teacher in Anatolia, away from classes for now, in the prisons of my homeland. But do not worry. The dorms of the prisons turn to be classrooms and the innocent inmates to be students. Now for freedom at Horizons and contentment at the sky.